the Mahabharata of Krishna-Dwaipayana Vyasa. Translated into English prose from the original Sanskrit text by Pratap Chandra Roy C.I.E. This free ebook has been downloaded from holybooks.com. Udyoga Parva. Section 51, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, all these named by thee are indeed endued with great courage, but all of them together are equal to Bhima singly. My fear, O child, from the wrathful Bhima is indeed very great, like that of a fat deer from an enraged tiger. I pass all my nights in sleeplessness, breathing deep and hot sighs, afraid of Vrikodara, O child, like an animal of any other species afraid of the lion. Of mighty arms and in energy equal unto Sakra himself, I see not in this whole army even one that can withstand him in battle. Exceedingly wrathful and determined in animosity, that son of Kunti and Pandu smileth not even in jest, is mad with rage, casteth his glances obliquely and speaketh in a voice of thunder. Of great impetuosity and great courage, of long arms and great might, he will not in battle leave even one of my foolish sons alive. Indeed Vrikodara, that bull among the Kurus, whirling his mace in battle will like a second Yama, mace in hand slay all my sons who are afflicted by a heavy calamity. Even now, I see that terrible mace of his with its sides made of steel and adorned with gold, uplifted like a Brahmana's curse. As a lion of mighty strength among a flock of deer, Bhima will range among my troops. He only amongst his brothers always displayed his strength cruelly towards my sons. Eating voraciously and endued with great impetuosity, from his very childhood he hath been behaving inimically towards my children. My heart trembled to remember that even in their childhood, Duryodhana and other sons of mine, while fighting with him sportively, were always ground down by the elephant like Bhima. Alas, my sons have always been oppressed by his might, and it is that Bhima of terrible prowess that hath been the cause of this rupture. Even now I behold Bhima, mad with rage, fighting in the very van, and devouring the whole of my host consisting of men, elephants, and steeds. Equal unto Drona and Arjuna in weapons, his speed equal unto the velocity of the wind, and in wrath like unto Maheswara himself. Who is there, O Sanjaya, that would slay that wrathful and terrible hero in battle? I think it to be a great gain that my sons were not even then slain by that slayer of enemies who is endued with such energy. How can a human being withstand the impetuosity of that warrior in battle who slew Yakshas and Rakshasas of terrible might before? O Sanjaya, even in his childhood he was never completely under my control. Injured by my wicked sons, how can that son of Pandu come under my control now? Cruel and extremely wrathful, he would break but not bend. Of oblique glances and contracted eyebrows, how can he be induced to remain quiet? Endued with heroism, of incomparable might and fair complexion, tall like a palmyra tree, and in height taller than Arjuna by the span of the thumb, the second son of Pandu surpasseth the very steeds in swiftness, and elephants in strength, speaketh in indistinct accents, and possesseth eyes having the hue of honey. As regards form and might, even such was he in his very boyhood, as I truly heard long before from the lips of Vyasa. Terrible and possessed of cruel might, when angry he will destroy in battle with his iron mace, cars and elephants and men and horses. By acting against his wishes, that foremost of smiters who is ever wrathful and furious, hath before been, O child, insulted by me. Alas, how will my sons bear that mace of his which is straight, made of steel, thick, of beautiful sides, adorned with gold, capable of slaying 100, and producing a terrible sound when hurled at the foe? Alas, O child, my foolish sons are desirous of crossing that inaccessible ocean constituted by Bhima, which is really shoreless, without a raft on it, immeasurable in depth, and full of currents impetuous as the course of arrows. Fools in reality, though boasting of their wisdom, alas, my children do not listen to me even though I cry out. Beholding only the honey, they do not see the terrible fall that is before them. They that will rush to battle with death himself in that human shape, are certainly doomed to destruction by the supreme ordainer, like animals within the lion's view. Full 4 cubits in length, endued with 6 sides and great might, and having also a deadly touch, when he will hurl his mace from the sling, how shall my sons, O child, bear its impetus? Whirling his mace and breaking therewith the heads of hostile elephants, licking with his tongue the corners of his mouth and drawing long breaths, when he will rush with loud roars against mighty elephants, returning the yells of those infuriated beasts that might rush against him. And when entering the close array of cars he will slay, after taking proper aim, the chief warriors before him. What mortal of my party will escape from him looking like a blazing flame? Crushing my forces and cutting a passage through them, that mighty armed hero, dancing with mace in hand, will exhibit the scene, witnessed during the universal dissolution at the end of a yuga. Like an infuriated elephant crushing trees adorned with flowers, Vrikodara will in battle furiously penetrate the ranks of my sons, depriving my warriors of their cars, drivers, steeds and flagstaff, and afflicting all warriors fighting from cars and the backs of elephants. That tiger among men will, O Sanjaya, like the impetuous current of Ganga throwing down diverse trees standing on its banks, crush in battle the troops of my sons. Without doubt, O Sanjaya, afflicted by the fear of Bhimasena, my sons and their dependents and all the allied kings will fly in different directions. It was this Bhima who, having entered of old with Vasudeva's aid, the innermost apartments of Jarsanda, overthrew that king endued with great energy, that lord of Magadha, the mighty Jarsanda, having fully brought under his subjection the goddess Earth, oppressed her by his energy. That the Kauravas in consequence of Bhishma's prowess, and the Andakas and the Vrishnis in consequence of their policy, could not be subjugated by him was due only to their good fortune. What could be more wonderful than that the heroic son of Pandu, of mighty arms and without any weapons, having approached that king, slew him in a trice. Like a venomous snake whose poison heart accumulated for years, Bhima will, O Sanjaya, vomit in battle the poison of his wrath upon my sons. Like the foremost of the celestials, the great Indra, smiting the Danavas with his thunderbolt, Bhimasena will, mace in hand, slay all my sons. Incapable of being withstood or resisted, of fierce impetus and prowess, and with eyes of a coppery hue, I behold even now that Vrikodara falling upon my sons. Without mace or bow, without car or coat of mail, fighting with his bare arms only, what man is there that can stand before him? Bhishma, that regenerate Drona, and Kripa the son of Saradvat, these are as much acquainted as I myself with the energy of the intelligent Bhima. Acquainted with the practice of those that are noble, and desirous of death in battle, these bulls among men will take their stand in the van of our army. Destiny is everywhere powerful, especially in the case of a male person, for beholding the victory of the Pandavas in battle, I do not yet restrain my sons. These mighty bowmen of mine, desirous of treading in that ancient track leading up to heaven, will lay down their lives in battle, taking care however of earthly fame. O child, my sons are the same to these mighty bowmen as the Pandavas are to them, for all of them are grandsons of Bhishma and disciples of Drona and Kripa. O Sanjaya, the little acceptable services that we have been able to do unto these 3 venerable ones, will certainly be repaid by them, owing to their own noble dispositions. It is said that death in battle of a Kshatriya, who hath taken up arms and desireth to observe Kshatriya practices, is indeed both good and meritorious. I weep however for all those that will fight against the Pandavas. That very danger hath now come which was foreseen by Vidura at the outest. It seems, O Sanjaya, that wisdom is incapable of dispelling woe. On the other hand, it is overwhelming woe that dispelleth wisdom. When the very sages that are emancipated from all worldly concerns and that behold, standing aloof, all the affairs of the universe, are affected by prosperity and adversity, what wonder is there that I should grieve, I who have my affections fixed on 1,000 things such as sons, kingdom, wives, grandsons, and relatives? What good can possibly be in store for me on the accession of such a frightful danger? Reflecting on every circumstance, I see the certain destruction of the Kurus. That match at dice seems to be the cause of this great danger of the Kurus. Alas, this sin was committed from temptation by foolish Duryodhana, desirous of wealth. I believe all this to be the untoward effect of ever-fleeting time that bringeth on everything. Tied to the wheel of time, like its periphery, I am not capable of flying away from it. Tell me, O Sanjaya, where shall I go? What shall I do, and how shall I do it? These foolish Kauravas will all be destroyed, their time having come. Helplessly shall I have to hear the wailing of women when my 100 sons will all be slain. Oh, how may death come upon me! As a blazing fire in the summer season, when urged by the wind consumeth dry grass, so will be my mace in hand and united with Arjuna, slay all on my side. Thus ends the 51st section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 52, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, He whom we have never heard to speak a falsehood, he who hath Dhananjaya to fight for him, may have the sovereignty of even the 3 worlds. Reflecting from day to day, I do not find the warrior who may, on his car, advance in battle against the wielder of Gandiva. When that wielder of Gandiva will shoot winged arrows and nalikas and shafts capable of piercing the breasts of warriors, there is no rival of his in battle. If those bulls among men, those heroes, Drona and Karna, those foremost of mighty men, versed in weapons and invincible in battle withstand him, the result may be very doubtful, but I am sure that the victory will not be mine. Karna is both compassionate and heedless, and preceptor is aged and hath affection for this pupil. Partha, however, is able and mighty, of firm grasp of the bow and indefatigable. Terrible will be the encounter between them, without resulting in any one's defeat. Conversant with weapons and endued with heroism, all of them have earned great fame. They may relinquish the very sovereignty of the gods, but not the chance of winning victory. There would be peace, without doubt, upon the fall of either of these two, Drona and Karna, or of Falguna. There is none, however, who can either slay or vanquish Arjuna. Alas, how may his wrath that hath been excited against my foolish sons be pacified? Others there are acquainted with the use of weapons, that conqueror are conquered, but it is heard that Falguna always conquereth. 33 years have passed away since the time when Arjuna, having invited Agni, gratified him at Khandava, vanquishing all the celestials. We have never heard of his defeat anywhere, O child. Like the case of Indra, victory is always Arjuna's, who hath for his charioteer in battle Hrishikesa, endued with the same character and position. We hear that the 2 Krishnas on the same car and the stringed Gandiva, these 3 forces have been united together. As regards ourselves, we have not a bow of that kind, or a warrior like Arjuna, or a charioteer like Krishna. The foolish followers of Duryodhana are not aware of this. O Sanjaya, the blazing thunderbolt falling on the head leaveth something undestroyed, but the arrows, O child, shot by Kiritin leave nothing undestroyed. Even now I behold Dhananjaya shooting his arrows and committing a havoc around, picking off heads from bodies with his arrowy showers. Even now I behold the arrowy conflagration, blazing all around, issuing from the Gandiva, consuming in battle the ranks of my sons. Even now it seemeth to me that, struck with panic at the rattle of Savyajin's car, my vast army consisting of diverse forces is running away in all directions. As a tremendous conflagration, wandering in all directions, of swelling flames and urged by the wind, consumeth dry leaves and grass, so will the great flame of Arjuna's weapons consume all my troops. Kiritin, appearing as a foe in battle, will vomit innumerable arrows and become irresistible like all-destroying death urged forward by the supreme Odina. When I shall constantly hear of evil omens of diverse kinds happening in the homes of the Kurus, and around them and on the field of battle, then will destruction without doubt overtake the Bharatas. Thus ends the 52nd section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 53, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, endued with great prowess and eager for victory, even as the sons themselves of Pandu are, so are their followers who are all resolved to sacrifice their lives and determined to win victory. Even thou, O son, hast told me of my mighty enemies, viz., the kings of the Panchalas, the Kekayas, the Matsyas, and the Magadhas. He again who at his will, can bring under his subjection all the three worlds with Indra at their head, even that creator of the universe, the mighty Krishna is bent on giving victory upon the Pandavas. As regards Satyaki, he acquired in no time the whole science of arms from Arjuna. That scion of Sin's race will stand on the battlefield, shooting his shafts like husbandmen sowing seeds. The prince of Panchala, Drishtadyumna, that mighty warrior of merciless deeds, acquainted with all superior weapons, will fight with my host. Great is my fear, O child, from the wrath of Yudhishthira, from the prowess of Arjuna, and from the twins and Bhimasena. When those lords of men will in the midst of my army spread their superhuman net of arrows, I fear my troops will not come out of it. It is for this, O Sanjaya, that I weep. That son of Pandu, Yudhishthira, is handsome, endued with great energy, highly blessed, possessed of Brahma force, intelligent, of great wisdom, and virtuous soul. Having allies and counselors, united with persons ready for battle and possessing brothers and father-in-law, who are all heroes and mighty warriors. That tiger among men, the son of Pandu, is also endued with patience, capable of keeping his counsels, compassionate, modest, of powers incapable of being baffled, possessed of great learning, with soul under proper control, ever waiting upon the aged, and subdued senses. Possessed thus of every accomplishment, he is like unto a blazing fire. What fool, doomed to destruction and deprived of sense, will jump moth-like into that blazing and irresistible Pandava fire? Alas, I have behaved deceitfully towards him. The king, like unto a fire of long flames, will destroy all my foolish sons in battle without leaving any alive. I therefore think that it is not proper to fight with them. Ye Kauravas, be ye of the same mind. Without doubt, the whole race of Kuru will be destroyed, in case of hostilities being waged. This appears to me very clearly, and if we act accordingly, my mind may have peace. If war with them doth not seem beneficial to you, then we will strive to bring about peace. Yudhishthira will never be indifferent when he sees us distressed, for he censures me only as the cause of this unjust war. Thus ends the 53rd section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 54, Sanatsujata Parva. Sanjaya said, It is even so, O great king, as thou sayest. O Bharata, on the event of a battle, the destruction of the Kshatriyas by means of Gandiva is certain. This, however, I do not understand. How, when thou art always wise and especially acquainted with the prowess of Savyaschin, thou followest yet the counsels of thy sons. Having, O bull of the Bharata race, injured the sons of Pritha from the very beginning, having in fact committed sins repeatedly, this is not, O great king, the time to grieve. He that occupies the position of a father and a friend, if he is always watchful and of good heart, should seek the welfare of his children, but he that injures, cannot be called a father. Hearing of the defeat of the Pandavas at Dice, thou hadst, O king, laughed like a child, saying, "This is won, this is acquired." When the harshest speeches were addressed to the sons of Pritha, thou didst not then interfere, pleased at the prospect of thy sons winning the whole kingdom. Thou couldst not, however, then see before the inevitable fall. The country of the Kurus, including the region called Jangala, is, O king, thy paternal kingdom. Thou hast, however, obtained the whole earth by those heroes. Won by the strength of their arms, the sons of Pritha made over thee this extensive empire. Thou thinkest, however, O best of kings, that all this was acquired by thee. When thy sons, seized by the king of the Gandharvas, were about to sink in a shoreless sea without a raft to save them, it was Partha, O king, that brought them back. Thou hadst, like a child, repeatedly laughed, O monarch, at the Pandavas when they were defeated at Dice and were going into exile. When Arjuna poured a shower of keen arrows, the very oceans dry up, let alone beings of flesh and blood. Falguna is the foremost of all shooters, Gandiva is the foremost of all bows, Kesava is the foremost of all beings, the Sudarsana is the foremost of all weapons, and of cars, that furnished with the banner bearing the blazing ape on it is the foremost. That car of his bearing all these and drawn by white steeds, will, O king, consume us all in battle, like the appraised wheel of time. O bull of the Bharata race, his is even now the whole earth, and he is the foremost of all kings, who hath Bhima and Arjuna to fight for him. Beholding thy host sinking in despair when smitten by Bhima, the Kauravas headed by Duryodhana will all meet destruction. Struck with the fear of Bhima and Arjuna, thy sons, O king, and the kings following them, will not, O Lord, be able to win victory. The Matsyas, the Panchalas, the Salves and the Surasnasi all decline to pay thee homage now and all disregard thee. Acquainted with the energy of that wise king, all of them, however, have joined that son of Pritha, and for their devotion to him they are always opposed to thy sons. He that by his evil deeds afflicted the sons of Pandu, who are all wedded to virtue and undeserving of destruction, he that hateth them even now, that sinful man, O monarch, who is none else than thy son, should with all his adherents be checked by all means. It behoveth thee not to bewail in this strain. Even this was said by myself as well as by the wise Vidura at the time of the gambling match at Dice. These thy lamentations in connection with the Pandavas, as if thou wert a helpless person, are, O king, all useless. Thus ends the 54th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 55, Sanatsujata Parva. Duryodhana said, "Fear not, O king, nor shouldst thou grieve for us. O monarch, O lord, we are quite able to vanquish the foe in battle." When the Parthas had been exiled to the woods, there came unto them the slayer of Madhu with a vast army in battle array and capable of crushing hostile kingdoms, and there also came unto them the Kekayas, and Drishtaketu, and Drishtadhyumna of Pritha's race, and numerous other kings in their train, and all those great car warriors were assembled in a place not far from Indraprastha. And having assembled together, they censured thee and all the Kurus. And O Bharata, all those warriors with Krishna at their head paid their homage unto Yudhishthira clad in deerskin and seated in their midst. And all those kings then suggested to Yudhishthira that he should take back the kingdom. And all of them desired to slay thee with all thy followers. And hearing of all this, O bull of the Bharata race, I addressed Bhishma and Drona and Kripa, struck with fear, O king, at the prospect of the ruin that threatened our kindred. And I said unto them, I think the Pandavas will not abide by the agreement made by them, Vasudeva desireth our utter extinction. I think also that with the exception of Vidura all of you will be slain, although the chief of the Kurus, Dhritarashtra, conversant with morality, will not be included in the slaughter, O sire, effecting our complete destruction. Janardana wished to bestow upon Yudhishthira the entire kingdom of the Kurus. What should be done? Shall we surrender, or fly, or shall we fight the foe, giving up every hope of life? If indeed we stand up against them, our defeat is certain, for all the kings of the earth are under Yudhishthira's command. The people of the realm are all annoyed with us, and all our friends also are angry with us. All the kings of the earth are speaking ill of us, and especially all our friends and relatives. There can be no fault in our surrender, for from time immemorial, the weaker party is known to conclude peace. I grieve, however, for that lord of men, my blind father, who may on my account be overtaken by woe and misery that is endless. It is known to thee, O king, even before this, that Daya their sons were all opposed to the foe for pleasing me only. Those mighty warriors, the sons of Pandu, will indeed avenge their wrongs by destroying the whole race of King Dhritarashtra with all his counselors. It was thus that I addressed them, and seeing me afflicted by great anxiety and my senses tortured, Drona and Bhishma and Kripa and Drona's son then addressed me, saying, Fear not, O repressor of foes, for if the foe wage hostilities with us, they will not be able to vanquish us when we take the field. Every one of us is singly capable of vanquishing all the kings of the earth. Let them come. With keen-edged arrows we will curb their pride. Inflamed with anger upon the death of his father, this Bhishma amongst us in days of old had conquered all the kings of the earth on a single car. O Bharata, his wrath excited, that best of the Kurus smote numberless ones amongst them, whereupon from fear they all surrendered to this Devavrata, seeking his protection. That Bhishma, united with us, is still capable of vanquishing the foe in battle. Let thy fears therefore, O bull of the Bharata race, be all dispelled. Duryodhana continued, even this was the resolve then formed by these heroes of immeasurable energy. The whole earth was formerly under the foe's command. Now, however, they are incapable of vanquishing us in battle, for our enemies, the sons of Pandu, are now without allies and destitute of energy. O bull of the Bharata race, the sovereignty of the earth now resteth in me, and the kings also, assembled by me, are of the same mind with me in weal or woe. Know thou, O best of the Kuru race, that all these kings, O slayer of foes, can for my sake enter into the fire or the sea. They are all laughing at thee, beholding thee filled with grief and indulging in these lamentations like one out of his wits, and affrighted at the praises of the foe. Every one amongst these kings is able to withstand the Pandavas. Indeed, sire, every one regardeth himself, let thy fears therefore be dispelled. Even Vasava himself is not capable of vanquishing my vast host. The self-create Brahma himself, if desirous of slaying it, cannot annihilate it. Having given up all hopes of a city, Yudhishthira craveth only 5 villages, affrighted, O Lord, at the army I have assembled and at my power. The belief thou entertainest in the prowess of Vrikodara, the son of Kunti, is unfounded. O Bharata, thou knowest not the extent of my prowess. There is none on earth equal to me in an encounter with the mace. None have ever surpassed me in such an encounter, nor will any surpass me. With devoted application and undergoing many privations, I have lived in my preceptor's abode. I have completed my knowledge and exercises there. It is for this that I have no fear either of Bhima or of others. When I humbly waited upon Sankarshna, my preceptor, blessed be thou, it was his firm conviction that Duryodhana hath no equal in the mace. In battle I am Sankarshna's equal, and in might there is none superior to me on earth. Bhima will never be able to bear the blow of my mace in battle. A single blow, O king, that I may wrathfully deal unto Bhima will certainly, O hero, carry him without delay to the abode of Yama. O king, I wish to see Vrikodara mace in hand. This hath been my long cherished desire. Struck in battle with my mace, Vrikodara, the son of Pritha, will fall dead on the ground, his limbs shattered. Smitten with a blow of my mace, the mountains of Himavat may split into 100,000 fragments. Vrikodara himself knoweth this truth, as also Vasudeva and Arjuna, that there is no one equal to Duryodhana in the use of mace. Let thy fears therefore caused by Vrikodara be dispelled, for I will certainly slay him in fierce conflict. Do not, O king, give way to melancholy. And after I have slain him, numerous warriors of equal or superior energy, will, O bull among the Bharatas, speedily throw Arjuna down. Bhishma, Drona, Kripa and Drona's son, Karna and Bhurisravas, Salya, the king of Pragjyotish, and Jayadratha, the king of the Sindhus, every one of these, O Bharata, is singly capable of slaying the Pandavas. When united together they will within a moment send Arjuna to the abode of Yama. There indeed is no reason why the united army of all the kings will be incapable of vanquishing Dhananjaya singly. 100 times shrouded by immeasurable arrows shot by Bhishma and Drona's son and Kripa, and deprived of strength, Partha will have to go unto Yama's abode. Our grandsire born of Ganga is, O Bharata, superior to Santanu himself. Like unto a regenerate saint, and incapable of being withstood by the very celestials, he took his birth amongst men. There is no slayer of Bhishma, O king, on earth, for his father being gratified, gave him the boon, thou shalt not die except when it is thy own wish. And Drona took his birth in a water pot from the regenerate saint Bharadwaja. And from Drona hath taken birth his son, having a knowledge of the highest weapons. And this the foremost of preceptors, Kripa also, hath taken his birth from the great Rishi Gautama. Born in a clump of heath, this illustrious one, I think, is incapable of being slain. Then again, O king, the father, mother and maternal uncle of Aswathaman, these three are not born of woman's womb. I have that hero also on my side. All these mighty warriors, O king, are like unto celestials and can, O bull of the Bharata race, inflict pain on Sakra himself in battle. Arjuna is incapable of even looking at any one of these singly. When united together, these tigers among men will certainly slay Dhananjaya. Karna also, I suppose, is equal unto Bhishma and Drona and Kripa. O Bharata, Rama himself had told him, thou art equal unto me. Karna had 2 earrings born with him, of great brilliance and beauty. For Sachi's gratification Indra begged them of that repressor of force, in exchange, O king, of an infallible and terrible shaft. How would Dhananjaya therefore escape with life from Karna, who is protected by that arrow? My success therefore, O king, is as certain as a fruit held fast in my own grasp. The utter defeat also of my foes is already bruited about on earth. This Bhishma, O Bharata, killeth every day 10,000 soldiers. Equal unto him are these bowmen, Drona, Drona's son and Kripa. Then, O repressor of force, the ranks of the Samsaptaka warriors have made this resolution, either we will slay Arjuna or that ape-bannered warrior will slay us. There are other kings also, who firm in their resolve of slaying Savyasjin, regard him as unequal to themselves. Why dost thou then apprehend danger from the Pandavas? When Bhimasena will be slain, O Bharata, who else amongst them will fight? Tell me this, O repressor of force, if thou knowest any amongst the force. The 5 brothers, with Dhrishtadyumna and Satyaki, these 7 warriors of the enemy, O king, are regarded as their chief strength. Those however amongst us that are our chief warriors, are Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Drona's son, Karna, Somadatta, Vahlika, and Salya, the king of Pragjyotisha, the 2 kings, Vinda and Anuvinda of Avanti, and Jayadratha, and then, O king, thy sons Dusasana, Durmukha, Dusaha, Shrateyu, Chitrasena, Purumitra, Vivinseti, Sala, Burisravas, and Vikarna. O king, I have assembled 110 Akshohinis. The army of the enemy is less than mine, amounting only to 7 Akshohinis. How then can I be defeated? Vrihaspati hath said that an army which is less by a third ought to be encountered. My army, O king, exceedeth that of the foe by a third. Besides, O Bharata, I know that the enemy hath many defects, while mine, O Lord, are endued with many good virtues. Knowing all this, O Bharata, as also the superiority of my force and the inferiority of the Pandavas, it behoveth thee not to lose thy senses. Having said this, O Bharata, that conqueror of hostile chiefs, Duryodhana asked Sanjaya again, anxious to know more about the doings of the Pandavas. Thus ends the 55th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 56, Sanatsujata Parva. Duryodhana said, having obtained, O Sanjaya, an army numbering 7 Akshohinis, what is Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, with the other kings in his company, doing in view of the war? Sanjaya said, Yudhishthira, O king, is very cheerful in view of the battle. And so also are Bhimasena and Arjuna. The twins also are perfectly fearless. Desirous of making an experiment of the mantras obtained by him, Vibhatsu, the son of Kunti, yoked his celestial car illuminating all the directions. Accoutred in mail, he looked like a mass of clouds charged with lightning. After reflecting for a while, he cheerfully addressed me, saying, Behold, O Sanjaya, these preliminary signs. We will certainly conquer. Indeed, what Vibhatsu said unto me appeared to me to be true. Duryodhana said, Thou rejoicest to applaud those sons of Pritha defeated at dice. Tell us now what sort of steeds are yoked unto Arjuna's car and what sort of banners are set up on it. Sanjaya said, O great king, the celestial artificer called Tashtri or Bhaumana, aided by Sakra and the 3 created forms of diverse kinds and great beauty for Arjuna's car. And displaying divine illusion, they placed on his flagstaff those celestial forms, large and small, of great value. And at Bhimasena's request, Hanumat, the son of the wind god, will also place his own image on it. And Bhaumana has in its creation had recourse to such illusion that banner covers, both perpendicularly and laterally, an area of 1 yojana, and even if trees stand in its way, its course cannot be impeded. Indeed, even as Sakra's bow of diverse colors is exhibited in the firmament, and nobody knows of what it is made, so hath that banner been contrived by Bhaumana, for its form is varied and ever varying. And as a column of smoke mixed with fire riseth up, covering the sky and displaying many bright hues and elegant shapes, so doth that banner contrived by Bhaumana rear its head. Indeed, it hath no weight, nor is it capable of being obstructed. And unto that car are a century of excellent celestial steeds of white hue and endued with the speed of the mind, all presented by Chitrasena, the king of the Gandharvas. And neither on earth, O king, nor in the sky, nor in heaven, their course can be impeded. And formerly a boon hath been granted to the effect that their number would always remain full, however so often they might be slain. And unto Yudhishthira's car are yoked large steeds of equal energy and white in color like ivory. And unto Bhimasena's car are yoked coursers endued with the speed of the wind and the splendor of the 7 rishis. And steeds of sable bodies and backs variegated like the wings of the titri bird, all presented by his gratified brother Falguna, and superior to those of the heroic Falguna himself, cheerfully carries Sahadeva. And Nakula of Ajamida's race, the son of Madri, is born like Indra the slayer of Vitra, by excellent steeds, presented by the great Indra himself, almighty as the wind and endued with great speed. And excellent steed of large size, equal unto those of the Pandavas themselves in years and strength, endued with great swiftness and of handsome make, and all presented by the celestials, carry those youthful princes, the sons of Subhadra and Draupadi. Thus ends the 56th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 57, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, "Whom hast thou, O Sanjaya, seen to have from affection arrived there, and who will on behalf of the Pandavas fight my son's forces?" Sanjaya said, "I have seen Krishna, the foremost of the Andakas and the Vrishnis arrived there, and Chekitna, as also Satyaki, otherwise called Yuyudhana. And those two mighty warriors, proud of their strength and famed over all the world, have joined the Pandavas, each with a separate Akshauhini of troops. And Drupada, the king of the Panchalas, surrounded by his 10 heroic sons Satyajit and others headed by Dhrishtadyumna, and well protected by Sikhundin, and having furnished his soldiers with every necessary thing, hath come there with a full Akshauhini, desirous of honouring Yudhishthira. And that lord of earth, Virata, with his 2 sons Sanka and Uta, as also with those heroes Suryadatta and others headed by Madiraksha and surrounded by 1 Akshauhini of troops, hath thus accompanied by brothers and sons, joined the son of Pritha, and the son of Jasanda, the king of Magadha, and Dhrishtaketu, the king of the Chedis, have separately come there, each accompanied by an Akshauhini of troops. And the 5 brothers of Kekaya, all having purple flags, have joined the Pandavas, surrounded by an Akshauhini of troops. Then numbering to this extent, have I seen assembled there, and these, on behalf of the Pandavas, will encounter the Dhritarashtra host. That great warrior, Dhrishtadyumna, who is acquainted with human, celestial, Gandharva and Asura arrays of battle, leadeth that host. O King, Bhishma, the son of Santanu, has been assigned to Sikhundin as his share, and Virata with all his Matsya warriors will support Sikhundin. The mighty king of the Madras hath been assigned to the eldest son of Pandu as his share, though some are of opinion that those two are not well matched. Duryodhana with his sons and his 99 brothers, as also the rulers of the east and the south, have been assigned to Bhimasena as his share. Karna, the son of Vikatna, and Jayadratha the king of the Sindhus, have been assigned to Arjuna as his share. And those heroes also on the earth who are incapable of being withstood and who are proud of their might, have been accepted by Arjuna as his share. And those mighty bowmen, the 5 royal brothers of Kekaya, will put forth their strength in battle, accepting the Kekaya warriors on Dhritarashtra's side as antagonists. And in their share are included the Malavas also, and the Salvakas, as also the 2 famous warriors of the Trigata host who have sworn to conquer or die. And all the sons of Duryodhana and Dusasana, as also King Vrihadvala, have been assigned to Subhadra's son as his share. And those great bowmen, the sons of Draupadi, having cars furnished with gold embroidered banners, all headed by Dhrishtadyumna, will, O Bharata, advance against Drona. And Chekitna on his car desired to encounter Somadatta in single combat with him, while Satyaki is anxious to battle against the Bhoja chief, Kritavarman. And the heroic son of Madri, Sahadeva, who setteth up terrible roars in battle, hath intended to take as his share thy brother-in-law, the son of Subala. And Nakula also, the son of Madravati, hath intended to take as his share the deceitful Uluka and the tribes of the Sarasvatas. As for all the other kings of the earth, O monarch, who will go to battle, the sons of Pandu have by naming them, distributed them in their own respective shares. Thus hath the Pandava host been distributed into divisions. Do thou now without delay, with thy sons act as thou thinkest best. Dhritarashtra said, Alas, all my foolish sons, addicted to deceitful dice, are already dead when it is the mighty Bhima with whom they desire to encounter in the field of battle. All the kings of the earth too, consecrated by death himself for sacrifice, will rush to the Gandiva, like so many moths into fire. Methinks my host is already put to flight by those illustrious warriors formerly injured by me. Who indeed shall follow to battle my warriors, whose ranks will be broken by the sons of Pandu in the encounter? All of them are mighty warriors, possessed of great bravery, of famous achievements, endued with great prowess, equal unto the fiery sun in energy, and all victorious in battle. Those that have Yudhishthira for their leader, the slayer of Madhu for their protector, the heroic Savyaschin and Vrikodara for their warriors, and Nakula, and Sahadeva, and Drishtadhyumna, the son of Prishatha, and Satyaki, and Drupada, and Drishtaketu with his son, and Uttamojas, and the unconquerable Yudamanyu of the Panchalas, and Sikhundin, and Kshatradeva, and Uta, the son of Virata, and Kasayas, the Chedis, the Matsyas, the Shrinjayas, Vabru the son of Virata, the Panchalas, and the Prabhadrakas, for fighting for them, those indeed from whom Indra himself cannot, if they are unwilling, snatch this earth, those heroes, cool and steady in fight, who can split the very mountains. Alas, it is with them that are endued with every virtue and possessed of superhuman prowess that this wicked son of mine, O Sanjaya, desired to fight, disregarding me even though I am crying myself hoarse. Duryodhana said, both the Pandavas and ourselves are of the same race, both they and we tread upon the same earth, why then dost thou think that victory will declare itself for only the Pandavas? Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, the unconquerable Karna, Jayadratha, Somadatta and Aswatthama, all mighty bowmen and endued with great energy, are incapable of being vanquished by Indra himself united with the celestials. What sayest thou then, O father of the Pandavas? All these noble and heroic kings of the earth, bearing weapons, O father, are quite capable for my sake, of withstanding the Pandavas, while the latter are not capable of even gazing at my troops. I am powerful enough to encounter in battle the Pandavas with their sons. O Bharata, all those rulers of the earth who are anxious for my welfare will certainly seize all the Pandavas like a herd of young deer by means of net. I tell thee, in consequence of our crowds of cars and snares of arrows, the Panchalas and the Pandavas will all be routed. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, this my son speaketh like a madman, for he is incapable of vanquishing in battle Yudhishthira the just. This Bhishma truly knoweth the might of the famous, powerful, virtuous, and high-souled Pandavas and their sons, for he doth not wish a battle with those illustrious ones. But tell me again, O Sanjaya, of their movements. Tell me who are inciting those illustrious and mighty bowmen endued with great activity, like priests enkindling homa fires with libations of clarified butter. Sanjaya said, O Bharata, Drishtadhyumna is always urging the Pandavas to war, saying, fight ye, O best among the Bharatas. Do not entertain the least fear. All those rulers of the earth who, courted by Dhritarashtra's son, will become in that fierce encounter target of showers of weapons. Indeed, I alone will encounter all those angry kings assembled together with their relatives, like a whale seizing little fishes from the water. Bhishma and Drona and Kripa and Karna and Drona's son and Salya and Suyodhana, them all I withstand, like the bank resisting the swelling sea. Unto him saying thus, the virtuous King Yudhishthira said, the Panchalas and the Pandavas wholly depend upon thy prowess and steadiness. Rescue us safely from the war. I know, O mighty armed one, that thou art firm in the duties of the Kshatriya order. Thou art indeed quite competent to smite alone the Kauravas. When the latter, eager for fight, will stand before us, what thou, O repressor of foes, wilt arrange will certainly be for our good. Even this is the opinion of those acquainted with the scriptures, that the hero who displaying his prowess rallieth those that after the rout run away from the battlefield, seeking for protection, is to be bought with 1,000. Thou, O bull among men, art brave, mighty, and powerful. Without doubt thou art that deliverer of those that are overpowered with fear on the field of battle. And when the righteous Yudhishthira the son of Kunti said this, Drishtadyumna fearlessly addressed me in these words, Go thou, O Sutta, without delay and say unto all those that have come to fight for Duryodhana, say unto the Kurus of the Prathipa dynasty with the Valikas, the son of Saradvata and Karna and Drona's son and Jayadratha and Dusasana and Vikarna and King Duryodhana, and Bhishma, do not suffer yourselves to be slain by Arjuna who is protected by the celestials. Before that happens, let some good man approach Yudhishthira and entreat that son of Pandu, that best of men, to accept the kingdom surrendered by them without delay. There is no warrior on the earth like unto Savyasjin, son of Pandu, of prowess incapable of being baffled. The celestial car of the holder of Gandiva is protected by the very gods. He is incapable of being vanquished by human beings. Do not therefore bend your mind to war. Thus ends the 57th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 58, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, Yudhishthira, the son of Pandu is endued with Kshatriya energy and leadeth the Brahmacharya mode of life from his very youth. Alas, with him these foolish sons of mine desire to fight, disregarding me that am thus bewailing. I ask thee, O Duryodhana, O foremost of the Bharata race, desist from hostility. O chastiser of foes, under any circumstances war is never applauded. Half the earth is quite enough for the maintenance of thyself and all thy followers. Give back unto the sons of Pandu, O chastiser of foes, their proper share. All the Kauravas deem just this to be consistent with justice, that thou shouldst make peace with the high-souled sons of Pandu. Reflect thus, O son, and thou wilt find that this thy army is for thy own death. Thou understandest not this from thy own folly. I myself do not desire war, nor Valika, nor Bhishma, nor Drona, nor Aswathaman, nor Sanjaya, nor Somadatta, nor Salya, nor Kripa, nor Satyavrata, nor Purumitra, nor Jaya, nor Burisravas. In fact, none of these desireth war. Indeed, those warriors upon whom the Kauravas, when afflicted by the foe, will have to rely, do not approve of the war. O child, let that be acceptable to thee. Alas, thou dost not seek it of thy own will, but it is Karna and the evil-minded Dusasana and Sakuni, the son of Suvala, that are leading thee to it. Duryodhana said, I challenge the Pandavas to battle without depending upon thyself, Drona or Aswathaman, or Sanjaya or Vikarna, or Kamboja or Kripa, or Valika, or Satyavrata or Purumitra or Burisravas, or others of thy party. But O bull among men, only myself and Karna, O sire, are prepared to celebrate the sacrifice of battle with all the necessary rites, making Yudhishthira the victim. In that sacrifice, my car will be the altar, my sword will be the smaller ladle, my mace, the large one for pouring libations, my coat of mail will be assembly of spectators, my 4 steeds will be the officiating priests, my arrows will be the blades of kusa grass, and fame will be the clarified butter. O king, performing in honor of Yama, such a sacrifice in battle, the ingredients of which will all be furnished by ourselves, we will return victoriously covered with glory, after having slain our foes. 3 of us, O sire, viz., myself and Karna and my brother Dusasana, will slay the Pandavas in battle. Either I, slaying the Pandavas, will sway this earth, or the sons of Pandu, having slain me, will enjoy this earth. O king, O thou of unfading glory, I would sacrifice my life, kingdom, wealth, everything, but would not be able to live side by side with the Pandavas. O venerable one, I will not surrender to the Pandavas even that much of land which may be covered by the sharp point of a needle. Dhritarashtra said, I now abandon Duryodhana forever. I nevertheless grieve for you all, ye kings that will follow this fool who is about to proceed to Yama's abode. Like tigers among a herd of deer, those foremost of smiters the sons of Pandu will smite down your principal leaders assembled for battle. Methinks the Bharata host, like a helpless woman will be afflicted and crushed and hurled to a distance by Yudhana of long arms. Adding to the strength of Yudhishthira's army, which without him was already sufficient, Sin's son will take up his stand on the field of battle and scatter his arrows like seeds on a cultivated field. And Bhimasena will take up his position in the very van of the combatants, and all his soldiers will fearlessly stand in his rear, as behind a rampart. Indeed, when thou, O Duryodhana, wilt behold elephants, huge as hills, prostrated on the ground with their tusks disabled, their temples crushed and bodies dyed with gore, and in fact when thou wilt see them lying on the field of battle like riven hills, then afraid of a clash with him, thou wilt remember these my words. Beholding thy host consisting of cars, steeds and elephants, consumed by Bhimasena and presenting the spectacle of a widespread conflagration's track, thou wilt remember these my words. If ye do not make peace with the Pandavas, overwhelming calamity will be yours. Slain by Bhimasena with his mace, ye will rest in peace. Indeed, when thou wilt see the Kuru host levelled to the ground by Bhima, like a large forest torn up by the roots, then wilt thou remember these my words. Vaisampayana continued, having said this unto all those rulers of the earth, the king, addressing Sanjaya again asked him as follows. Thus ends the 58th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 59, Sanatsujata Parva. Dhritarashtra said, Tell me, O thou of great wisdom, what high-souled Vasudeva and Dhananjaya said. I am anxious to hear from thee all about this. Sanjaya said, Listen, O king, as I tell thee the state in which I found Krishna and Dhananjaya. I will also, O Bharata, tell thee what those heroes said. O king, with looks bent down and hands joined together and with senses well restrained, I entered the inner apartments for conferring with those gods among men. Neither Abhimanyu nor the twins can repair to that place where are the two Krishnas and Draupadi and Lady Satyabhama. There, I beheld those chastisers of force exhilarated with basya wine, their bodies adorned with garlands of flowers. Attired in excellent robes and adorned with celestial ornaments, they sat on a golden dais, decked with numerous gems and covered over with carpets of diverse texture and hue. And I beheld Kesava's feet resting upon Arjuna's lap, while those of the high-souled Arjuna rested upon the laps of Krishna and Satyabhama. Partha then pointed out to me for a seat, a footstool made of gold. Touching it with my hand, I seated myself down on the ground. And when he withdrew his feet from the footstool, I beheld auspicious marks on both his soles. Those consisted of two longitudinal lines running from heels to foretoe. O sire, endued with black complexions, of high statures and erect like sala trunks, beholding those youthful heroes, both seated on the same seat, a great fear seized me. They seemed to me to be Indra and Vishnu seated together, though Duryodhana of dull sense knoweth it not in consequence of his reliance on Drona and Bhishma and on the loud wants of Karna. That very moment I was convinced that the wishes of Yudhishthira the just, who had those two for obeying his orders, were certain to succeed. Being hospitably entertained with food and drink, and honored with other courtesies, I conveyed to them thy message, placing my joined hands on my head. Then Partha, removing Kesava's auspicious foot from his lap with his hand scarred by the flappings of the bowstring, urged him to speak. Sitting up erect like Indra's banner, adorned with every ornament, and resembling Indra himself in energy, Krishna then addressed me. And the words which that best of speakers said were sweet, charming and mild, though awful and alarming to the son of Dhritarashtra. Indeed, the words uttered by Krishna, who alone is fit to speak, were of correct emphasis and accent, and pregnant with meaning though heartrending in the end. And Vasudeva said, O Sanjaya, say thou these words unto the wise Dhritarashtra, and in the hearing of that foremost of the Kurus, Bhishma, and also of Drona, having first saluted at our request, O Suta, all the aged ones, and having enquired after the welfare of the younger ones. Do ye celebrate diverse sacrifices, making presents unto the Brahmanas, and rejoice with your sons and wives. For a great danger threatens ye. Do ye give away wealth unto deserving persons, beget desirable sons, and do agreeable offices to those that are dear to thee, for King Yudhishthira is eager for victory. While I was at a distance, Krishna with tears addressing me said, that debt, accumulating with time, hath not yet been paid off by me. Ye have provoked hostilities with that Savyastin, who hath for his body invincible Gandiva of fiery energy, and who hath me for his helpmate. Who, even if he were Purandara himself, would challenge Partha, having me for his helpmate, unless of course his span of life were full. He that is capable of vanquishing Arjuna in battle is indeed able to uphold the earth with his two arms, to consume all created things in anger, and hurl the celestials from heaven. Among the celestials, Asuras and men, among Yakshas, Gandharvas and Nagas, I do not find the person that can encounter Arjuna in battle. That wonderful story which is heard of an encounter in the city of Bharata between a single person on one side and innumerable warriors on the other is sufficient proof of this. That ye all fled in all directions, being routed in the city of Bharata by that son of Pandu singly, is sufficient proof of this. Might, prowess, energy, speed, lightness of hand, indefatigableness, and patience are not to be found in anyone else, save Partha. Thus spoke Hrishiksa, cheering up Partha by his words and roaring like rain-charged clouds in the firmament. Having heard these words of Kesava, the diadem-decked Arjuna of white steeds, also spoke to the same effect. Thus ends the 59th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. Section 60, Sanatsujata Parva. Vaisampayana said, having heard these words of Sanjaya, the monarch endued with the eye of wisdom took that speech into his consideration as regards its merits and demerits. And having counted in detail the merits and demerits as far as he could, and having exactly ascertained the strength and weakness of both parties, the learned and intelligent king, ever desirous of victory to his sons, then began to compare the powers of both sides. And having at last ascertained that the Pandavas were endued with strength and energy both human and divine, and that the Kurus were much weaker, Dhritarashtra said unto Duryodhana, this anxiety, O Duryodhana, always filleth me. Indeed, it doth not leave me. Truly, it seemeth that I behold it with my eye. This conviction is not a matter of inference. All created beings show great affection for their offsprings, and do to the best of their power, what is agreeable and beneficial to them. This is generally to be seen also in the case of benefactors. They that are good always desire to return the good done to them and to do what is highly agreeable to their benefactors. Remembering what was done to him at Khandava, Agni will no doubt render aid to Arjuna in this terrible encounter between the Kurus and the Pandavas. And from parental affection, Dharma and other celestials duly invoked, will come together to the aid of the Pandavas. I think that to save them from Bhishma and Drona and Kripa, the celestials will be filled with wrath, resembling the thunderbolt in its effects. Endued with energy and well versed in the use of weapons, those tigers among men, the sons of Pritha, when united with the celestials, will be incapable of being even gazed upon by human warriors. He who hath the irresistible, excellent and celestial Gandiva for his bow, he who hath a couple of celestial quivers obtained from Varuna, large, full of shafts, and inexhaustible, he on whose banner that is unobstructed like smoke in its action is stationed the monkey image of celestial origin, whose car is unequalled on the earth girt by the four seas and the rattle of which as heard by men is like the roar of the clouds, and which like the rolling of the thunder frightens the foe. He whom the whole world regards as superhuman in energy. He whom all the kings of the earth know to be the vanquisher of the very gods in battle, he that taketh up 500 arrows at a time and in the twinkling of the eye, shooteth them unseen by others, to a great distance, that son of Pritha and tiger among our warriors and chastiser of foes, whom Bhishma and Drona and Kripa and Drona's son and Salya, the king of the Madras, and in fact, all impartial persons, regard as incapable of being vanquished by even earthly kings of superhuman prowess. When ready for fight, who shooteth at one stretch full 500 arrows and who is equal unto Kartavirya in strength of arms. That great bowman, Arjuna, equal unto Indra or Upendra in prowess, I behold that great warrior committing a great havoc in this terrible battle. O Bharata, reflecting day and night on this, I am unhappy and sleepless through anxiety for the welfare of the Kurus. A terrible destruction is about to overtake the Kurus if there is nothing but peace for ending this quarrel. I am for peace with the Pathas and not for war. O child, I always deemed the Pandavas mightier than the Kurus. Thus ends the 68th section in the Sanatsujata Parva of the Udyoga Parva. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please like and subscribe to be notified of when new audiobooks are uploaded. Thank you for listening and learning. Shanti.